Welcome to the Diva Detail. Welcome to the Diva Detail, where bold, confident women embrace life unapologetically. From love and sex to wellness and reinvention, we keep it raw, real, and powerful. No filters, no limits. Just fearless conversations to help you thrive. Let's dive in with Diva Mia and Diva Cat.
Aloha, everybody. This is Diva Mia. And today I have such a special guest today. She's a really good friend of mine. She is a 73-year-old professional powerhouse bodybuilder. She is quite the diva, let me tell you. She started training when she was 69, and she's taken it to such amazing levels. She's now an influencer on social media, and I think you'll agree, her personality just lights up an entire room every single time she talks. And I don't want to hold back at all. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce you, Diva. Diva Renee, how are you today?
I'm just doing great, Diva Mia, and thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast. And I'm just so glad we met on that cruise ship that day.
Yes, we met on a cruise ship. It was wonderful. And ever since then, we can't stop talking about you. If you listen to any of our other episodes, Diva Cat's in love with you because you are such an inspiration to so many people. And one of the things I know is that your personality is so vibrant. You have so much energy. And have you always been like that?
Well, I have had a lot of energy. I've been a pretty energetic person most all my life, and my mother was. So I think I inherited my mom's energy, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm slower now than I used to be. This is my slow version. Okay, this is the 73-year. I mean, when I was 30, 40, 50, I was like a hurricane. So this is a more mellow me.
Well, I will say we were on that cruise ship together, and you are so beautiful. But I said, those 30-year-olds were checking you out. And it was so funny because the guys were checking you out, and you're 73. And it's amazing how beautiful you are, how your personality just lights up a room. And then on top of that, all the younger men are following you around. So
well, I'm not sure that it was that much.
They were in their 30s. It was adorable. Anyway, so you started off, you've had spinal fusion surgery, correct? At age 58. And so were you always in shape, or did you transition at 69 to getting in better shape? Have you always been kind of fit?
Well, actually, I've always been interested in fitness, Mia. And when I was in my 20s and married to my first ex-husband, I was exercising a lot and doing all the aerobic stuff. So I was into it when I was in my 20s. And as time went on, I still was into it, but not extreme. I just knew that fitness and health, I felt better if I was exercising, and I felt better if I was eating healthy food. So I have been interested in it for years. Now, as far as my weight goes, after I divorced that guy, the first guy, I gained a bunch of weight and I lost it. That was my starter marriage. What can I say? But anyway, so my weight has fluctuated, but I'm smaller than I have been probably most of my life. And I'm sure that's really because it's actually been since I was 60 that I started lifting. And I did that within a couple of years of my lower lumbar fusion. So I've had about 13 years of consistency, and that has made a huge difference. Just being consistent. Those years before, I was struggling with problems with my back. There were times when I could barely walk, and I was thinking I was going to have to be doing my business from a wheelchair. And that's hard when you're self-employed and you have a kid, you're a single mom. That was a scary time. I have been into fitness, and I struggled through it for a long time whenever my back was just deteriorating. So I was grateful when I finally did get that surgery at 58. And really, it was kind of like the silver lining, because that changed everything. After I had that surgery, I had a great neurosurgeon, and he said, go get your rehab, and then you can do whatever you want. Go back. He said, except he didn't want me running anymore, because I used to be an avid runner, run 6 miles every day. And I ran till I was like 5 months pregnant. He said no running. And he didn't think yoga was a good idea because it might stretch my fusion. So no yoga. And every time I've tried to do yoga, because I think it's great stuff, I end up hurting for weeks. So I can't do yoga and I'm not supposed to run. Those are my two things. And really, when I follow along with that, I'm good. And I've just continued my fitness. And now it's kind of like once I started lifting weights, that really was the next big thing. It's like the fountain of youth. That's what I say. Lifting weights is like the fountain of youth.
So you were in your 60s when you started lifting weights. And
Yes,
you first competed in your first competition at 69.
correct. That's exactly right.
Wow. And did you decide to do a bikini competition for a specific reason, or did you want to go a little bit bigger? Because I know there's different levels in bodybuilding. So was bikini the one you tried first, or did you decide something else?
Well, the reality is, I never thought about doing any bodybuilding. That was not on my radar at all. And my trainer, I just was so fortunate to get a trainer who knows how to train people with injuries because Dustin, has trained me where I didn't get hurt. And actually, I met him. My doctor introduced me to him. My HRT doctor, by the way, I'm, backing up a little, 58, I have a fusion in my back. By the time I turned 60, I'm thinking, well, I need to get serious about my fitness. I wanted to be able to dance like I love to dance, go out and run around with my grandkids, travel the world, and do all the things that people do. And so I knew that I needed to get my core strong and make sure I was a strong person. And if I'm blessed enough to end up with this awesome surgery that made me better. And so that's what happened really. So he started training me. I still never thought about competing. We worked out in this small gym. It was just trainers and their clients, very non-fancy, just the basics. And I just was lifting weights for years. And he was training me like he'd train any other 60-year-old woman. Nothing spectacular, just the everyday. And time went on, and I guess I am kind of a type A, maybe a person who's always looking for the next thing. What else can I do, sort of thing. And after a year or two went by, and we're doing the same exercises, lifting the same weights, using the same machines, and I was getting kind of bored. And I said, well, what else can I do? What's the next thing I can do? I didn't really want to play softball. I'd done that before. I was afraid of getting hit with a ball, and there weren't any sports I was interested in. And so he said, Renee, I can see you on stage. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, bodybuilding. And so I said, well, I don't even know what that is. I've kind of remotely heard about it, but it seems like it's, people with these giant muscles and they just look just crazy. So, but I looked into it. I said, I'm going to see what this is all about. And I researched it and I said, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going to get on stage almost naked in a sparkly bikini in front of a bunch of strangers. In my 60s, I'm like 65, dude. I'm not doing that. That was a definite hard no for years. Every year we talk. No, I can't do it. I was as judgy as the next person about it. Okay. I couldn't even imagine doing it. Really, this is the truth. And so he kept training me, but every so often he'd bring it up, but he was never pushy, ever. He's just the most mild mannered, wonderful person. And so finally, what happened when I was about 65? Okay, so I've been training with him for 5 years. I'm lifting weights. I'm probably 10 or 15 pounds heavier than I am now. And I went on a vacation. And I came back from the vacation. We went to Germany. I went with my girlfriend, and I saw these pictures of myself. And I looked at those pictures. I'm going, that is not the look I want. It's like, of course, I look pretty good for 65-ish, but it's like there's a better Renee in there. I just looked like a full-figured middle-aged woman. I'm more than middle-aged, but I didn't like how I looked. And I know that sounds vain, but I'm lifting weights all these years. What's wrong? Why am I should be looking different. And so I told him, I said, I can't, I want to do something about this. And so Dustin basically, he gave me some more exercises, but the other thing is we tuned up my nutrition. I got more serious about what I ate. I never was a big fried food, fast food kind of gal, but I wasn't really paying that much attention and was enjoying my life and eating what I wanted more or less. Anyway, so that's the other part. So basically at 65, after I came back from this vacation, I set a goal to lose 1 pound. Okay. I had a Fitbit then. I set a goal in there. I'm going to lose 1 pound. So I did all the workouts. I watched what I ate and I lost 1 pound. And I set a goal to lose 1 pound again. And I did my workouts. I did everything I had to do, ate the better food. And then I lost 1 pound. And I kept setting a goal to lose 1 pound. And so what happened, I mean, I was actually losing weight, being thinner than I'd ever been really in 30 or 40 years, maybe since I was, 20. And so in 4.5 months, I lost 10 pounds. And it's like, oh my God, I can't even believe I did that. Because I thought, well, this is just the way a 60 something year old woman's going to look. You're just going to be kind of whatever, not anything special. And I had resigned myself to that. I had been thinking like everybody else thinks when they're 60s and so on, 50, 60, whatever, this is just something that's going to happen to me. But the truth was that was not the case. And people at the gym were wondering, what's Renee doing? Because this is a small gym and people noticed there was a difference. And it's science and math. It's kind of like, it's calories in, out, whatever. It's, speeding up your metabolism. It's a few different things. And so literally, really, I was just shocked. And then when I got to that level, then I thought, if I can lose 10 pounds, I can maybe do a competition. This became something that maybe it started percolating in my brain, but I never did anything about it. I just enjoyed being thinner and you could see muscles then. I had those muscles there from working out for 5 years, but you couldn't see the muscles because I had that layer of fat. It is what it is, right? So I felt good about it, and time was going on. I'm 66, 67. I'm feeling good. And then COVID hit. And by then I was about 68. So I'd still lifting the weights, and I was thinner. I was feeling good. But then when COVID hit, that was scary because we couldn't go to the gym. That was like, and I had worked so hard. I told Dustin, I cannot let this COVID take over my life. I don't want to do what other people are doing and just quit working out. So I have a giant patio in my backyard, and he came over and trained me and some of the other gym people in my back patio for a few months during the time whenever the gyms were closed. And I said, because I just could not stand the thought of, it's like the reality is we cannot control our environment, but we can control how we react to our environment.
Yep.
And that's what, it's like, I was not going to let that get the best of me. So we started lifting and training in my backyard. My neighbors were wondering what's going on. They see us, out on the driveway and, don't know what's going on. And so that's whenever I said, okay, I'm not letting COVID take over my life. I told Dustin, okay, before I turn 70, I'm going to compete. That's what I told him. Before I turn 70 years old, I will compete, because I thought, well, okay, I can do this. I was already doing stuff that I couldn't believe I could do. So why not?
You trained for your first competition technically for 4 years.
Yes, I didn't know that I was doing it for sure. But once I lost those 10 pounds, it was starting to be in my brain as a possibility more. Now, I was still judgy. Like, oh my God, those women are almost half naked and they're getting on stage. I was still thinking that. It's like, could I do this? What are my friends going to think? This is insane. Because all my friends were my age, right?
Yeah.
And, but once I made that decision, I remember it's like May 28th and whatever the year was, I don't know, 2021, whatever it was. And I said, okay, we're going to do this. And I said, now, let's find a show. I didn't do it the right way. You're supposed to find look into the vast land of competitions and choose one in 6 months or a year or whatever, and then train for it. No, I said, well, I cruise a lot. I travel a lot. Let's find something that'll work with my schedule. And that's what we did. And so 4.5 months from May, August the 7th, I think it was, that was my goal. There was a competition that was going to be in the Houston area, the Lee Labrada Classic, which Lee Labrada was well known back in the day. He's a real bodybuilder and a real quality guy, and he had these great shows. So it was an NPC Lee Labrada Classic in the Woodlands, about an hour from where I live. So that was going to be the show I was going to do. But like I said, I never planned any of that. That was not in my radar. But things happened. And I reacted to my environment. So secretly, I was preparing for this show. I didn't tell any of my people, my travel friends, my cruise friends. I have girlfriends that are like 20 years younger than me and younger, kind of like we're talking right now. So I have this extra group of friends just because, I don't know why, maybe because I got some young energy. And I did tell them that I was thinking about competing. But in general, all these people I do stuff, they didn't know. I even went on vacation to Cabo while I was in prep, but I didn't tell my friends. They think, oh, Renee's a picky eater. They don't even question me. They just know I don't eat like everybody else. And I do work out, and not everybody works out. So anyway, so I competed in that first show at age 69. I was on stage with women in their 50s because the oldest category was 50 plus. So there wasn't any older category. So I was up there. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I just went up there and I really fell in love with the whole bodybuilding world after I did that show. And that was the beginning. I like to say it was the beginning of the rest of my best life at 69 years old. And I couldn't wait to do it again. So that's kind of what happened there. I mean, there's more, but I'll stop there because I could go on forever.
Yeah. So that was 4 or 5 years ago when you had your first competition. And I have lately, since COVID, been seeing a lot more people in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s. I even saw a 100-year-old bodybuilder the other day. And there's people that it's not normal because society tells you have to be a certain way at a certain age and it's okay to look that way, which honestly, I don't really think it is. But society says it's okay to let yourself go when you're in your 60s and 70s. But I'm seeing a lot more people in the gym that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s and really taking on muscle growth because it does give you a better quality of life as well. Are you seeing a pickup in the number of people you're competing with in their 60s or 70s or 80s?
Well, there's a group of people who kind of compete all the time, but since I started this, I will tell you, you're right. I have found a lot more people that are older doing it. So I'm excited about that because there aren't too many women older than me who started this late in life to compete. There are some in their 60s, but whatever. But I am seeing it more and I'm excited about that because that's what we should be doing. We can do that. This age thing, that is just something people, they buy into that. Just like you said, it's like society is saying it. And people give up on themselves way too soon. I mean, when you get to be 50, you think you're over the hill. So that's the other part. It's a mindset. And
Yep.
I don't think like that. And I never have. I can't even believe I'm 73. I can't even believe it, but I am. And
I can't believe you're 73.
Can't either. It's like
I talk to
can't
people,
believe it.
and every time I hear somebody at the gym saying, "Oh, I'm so old," I go, "Look at this 73-year-old who's kicking butt, and taking names," and everybody's like, "She's hot." I'm like, "She totally's hot." I can't believe you're 73.
I can't either.
So I know society tries to get everybody to be average, right? It tries because anything that's not average is out of the norm, and it's scary for people, right? So society tries to get you there. But you also talked a little bit about going on hormone replacement therapy or HRT. So
Yes.
I'm assuming you're probably on testosterone.
I am. And I started at 60. Really, after that fusion, that's when I said, okay, I got to get strong and healthy. And I went to a doctor who's here in the Houston area that specializes in that and fertility and all. He's a urologist, but he's like the head of the Baylor Department of Urology. And yes, and so I got all my blood work done. And so I'm on a teensy dose of testosterone and estradiol. Those are my two things. Some women get on progesterone also, which helps you sleep, but I'm not on that for whatever reason. He didn't think I needed it. But yes, it's, people are afraid of HRT because they hear, oh, it causes cancer. Well, that was 30 years ago. That was whenever it was a synthetic thing. These are bioidentical hormones now, and they're plant-based, and do the research. So that's the big thing. Women have suffered for so many years because they don't understand what it is. And the doctors they don't understand it either. And so they won't prescribe it. I mean, I hear about it all the time. I don't know if you're on it or not, but
I am. I had a little bit of a mishap with it. I actually went back to my earlier days of periods after they put me on it first. So they messed me up a little bit. And I was like, uh-oh. So I am on it. I'm on testosterone as well. And I think that, and estradiol and progesterone and DHEA, actually, I'm on everything. So I got the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, you got the whole package.
I do, because my body has difficulty processing hormones, but nonetheless, I'm on it. But I've never had hot flashes. And I just started last year, kind of towards the end of my transition into menopause. on testosterone and all the different hormones. But I never really had a lot of issues going through menopause. And now I know a lot of women do. And if you get on hormone replacement therapy, it really helps you through the transition, if you will, through your menopause years. More women need to look into it and talk to their doctors, because what's happening is it's going to give you a better quality of life. It's going to increase your bone density, because that's what it does as well. It'll increase your muscle mass, and it's going to let you live longer. So much better. And I agree. The stories before of all the, it's going to cause cancer, et cetera. Now people need to do their own research. I agree. Yeah.
And it's good for your brain too. I mean,
It's good for your brain.
it's really,
Yep.
it's good for everything. I mean, to me, I mean, I don't, knock on wood, I don't have all these aches and pains. I mean, just getting up in the morning for me. And remember, I've had a fusion in my back. I've got L5 and S1 put together. And so I have very little aches. I mean, I have arthritis in this one little joint in my baby finger. It's pretty ugly, but I mean, I hardly, and I have a little thing in my foot. That's all my pain. Now, people, and honestly, I feel people need to do their homework about this. To me, if I was gonna preach about anything, it would be about do your homework about hormone replacement therapy. Don't suffer now. And also, Mia, even though you didn't have hot flashes, that doesn't mean your body wasn't affected by it. So women who say, "Oh well, yeah, I breezed right through it," that doesn't mean that you're really in the long run. What's going to happen when you're my age? Okay, when you went through your 50 or so, you did it. So I mean, I think a lot of the reason I feel as good and I'm as vibrant is because I'm on it, and that's what I think people need to just remember. There's actually on my YouTube channel. I'm not here to sell anything, but I did a podcast interview with a doctor who is an HRT expert. She's been doing it for 30 years. And that woman, she dispels all the myths of HRT. And that's the thing. We're afraid of it, so we don't want to do it. Of course, you don't want to do anything that could cause cancer. I get it. That there are just too many myths. So
Yeah.
that, people might want to check. Her name is Nadu, Nadu Tuakli, Tuakli. And she's been such a help to me just to kind of reassure me about what I'm doing. And we can stay on it indefinitely. In fact, I have no plans to ever get off of it. You don't need to, because it does good things for your body, your brain, your muscles, your bones, all those things. So there's no really need to get off of it. If you're on the right dose and you got yourself tuned up on it. So that's
Dose
so cool.
now. I had some
That's
issues
great.
there. I had some
That is
issues
so
for a little bit.
cool.
But the thing is that I didn't have the severe menopausal symptoms, but I had symptoms like I gained weight, I lost muscle mass, the things that a lot of women go through. And then they're like, oh, it's just age, but it's not. It's your hormones.
Mm-mm.
And
That is correct.
and so when your hormones shift like that, major changes can happen internally, even though you may not have hot flashes or be moody or things like that. I might have been moody. But it does change. But let's go back to your first competition. I want to
Okay.
hear how you felt when you first put on that sparkly bikini and you were at your very first competition. And you're like looking around and there's all these 50-year-olds and 60-year-olds and 30 and 20 and whatever year olds. And you're getting ready to go on the stage half naked because you kept saying half naked. So let's go
naked.
back to that. So how did you feel? You're blushing right now.
I know, it was just wild. It's like, and, I've got goosebumps talking about it. It was really kind of surreal because I overthink everything, and I remember thinking, well, I don't know what to do. I only had a short time to get trained on how to pose, uh, you know, just the whole thing. And I was kind of like a science experiment for my trainer and for my nutrition person, because they've never trained a woman my age to compete. So everybody didn't really know what to think. But I remember when I was backstage, and I competed in two or three different categories. You may or may not know, but there's all kind of categories, but masters is what I was in, a 50 plus. I might have done masters 45 plus, and I did something called open. And open is for all ages, and it's done by height. And I'm 5 foot tall, so I was in open class A for short. So I was on stage also with 20-year-olds and my age. So I mean, I was on stage with them, competing with them too. So anyway, but So I was kind of a nervous wreck, but I kept remembering, I told myself, I'm really honestly, it's like, okay, okay, angels, I need y'all to come through for me. I need y'all to help me get on stage and just keep it together and do the best I could and just be me. I remember I want to have fun. You know, you work so hard to prepare. So it's supposed to be fun. So I want to have fun and I want to be who I am up there. So that was my next thought. I just want to portray who I am, put my own energy out there, not be some bodybuilder lady. I just want to be me in the sparkly bikini, which was so bright. It was like Thunderdome. That's how I describe it. If you see it, it's like just so sparkly and it was just bright. But I loved it. And a local girl here in Houston actually made it. She's amazing. She makes great competition suits. So anyway, but I was nervous and it was a long day. You know, you start early. It's a long process. You wait a lot and bikini is always the last one. And bikini was what everybody said I needed to do because I was just starting out and I don't know what kind of muscle I'm going to have. So bikini is what a lot of women start in. And that's what I did. And probably I lost more weight than I needed to. But again, I was a science experiment for these guys. So anyway, but I got up on stage and it was scary. And I had, if you get up there a few times, every category, you got to get back up there and you got to do your thing. And then you're up there with everybody else next to you, posing. And I didn't even know how in the hell to pose. I had kind of a poor teacher whenever I took that short period of time. And I learned a lot just going to YouTube about how to pose. So, you do what you have to do, right? The older we get, the more resourceful we become. You don't feel like you're going to be helpless and pitiful. You're going to go after it, whatever you got to do. And so anyway, so yeah, I was nervous, but I was excited and I just didn't have any idea what was in store for me for the rest of all these years since then. But like I said, that's the day I really fell in love with bodybuilding. And here's another thing. So during the course of the day, they have these people called expediters that, tell you to get on stage. You stand here, you stand there, turn around. They have these people that guide you up on the stage. And so the day went on and I was back and forth and it was the end of the show. It was like everything we'd done all the bikini. I'd already been up as many times as I needed to go. And I already put my robe back on because I thought, well, we're done. I'm kind of gathering up all my little articles that I had backstage. And then the expediter said, no, you need to get back on stage. You got to get up there, follow these people. Now, remember, I had never done this before. I didn't know what I was doing. And what is the likelihood of somebody 25 years older than other people of winning anything? Well, I had been visualizing, even though I knew it was I had been visualizing receiving a trophy that that whole 4 months. Like, I'm just going to imagine it, even though it's unlikely, but I visualized it. And I kept imagining receiving a trophy. Well, all right. So we get on stage and literally I got a trophy. I got sixth place in bikini open class A. So that means between me and all the other short girls, I got a trophy. And I mean, it's one of those trophies over there. And it was like, oh my God, I could not believe it. I was like, I didn't realize it even when I was on stage, but they put the trophies out there in front of you and I'm going, so it was just, I could not believe that. It happened. I was getting ready to leave and they say, no, get up there. And I ended up leaving there with a trophy. So that was another amazing thing that happened, even though it was unlikely. But because you got to manifest it, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what happened. I visualized it, even though it was crazy unlikely that it could happen. And yeah, it was sixth place. It wasn't first place, but so what? Brought home a freaking trophy on my very first competition. So it was so awesome.
So you mentioned the community and you're addicted to the bodybuilding now. Have you met a lot of fun, interesting people, and how does that help you evolve as a competitor as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, I already had a lot of fun friends that were my age that I danced with, that I cruised with, I do all kind of stuff with. I have some amazing friends, but I feel like I found my people that day. And that's what I say, because see me saying, hey, my people. Well, I found my people at 69 years old that day. We think the same. We're like-minded. Nobody's judging us because we're counting our macros or making sure we've got, we're carrying our little protein around in Tupperwares to make sure we get enough of it. There's no judgment at all. And so I found my people that day, that late in life. And that's what happened. And, I mean, really, people are so supportive, and they're at all ends of the spectrum, from, one end of the spectrum to the other, men, women, there's all kinds of people with all professions that do it. And we're all the same. It's like we're all the same. We all think alike, and we support one another. And I have met so many people that are still my friends today. Actually, that's how I got into this angel competition bikinis. They're my sponsors now. These, who would believe that I'd be sponsored in my 70s from a bikini maker? And that happened because, well, once I did that first competition, well, I don't want to, shortchange that. That was really the beginning of it all, though, honestly, because I didn't know if I'd compete again. But it's like, I can't wait. It's like, I can't wait to compete again. And I competed several times after that within a 3 to 6 month time frame. I competed a lot. And during that time, I got a message from Angel Competition Bikinis. They're bikini makers who make the competition bikinis. And they said, we want to, apply to be in one of our Angel bikini shows. And I said, oh, I'll apply. Why not? And I just did it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to hear from them. I'm like old compared to what they need. And then several months passed, and I got an email or something that said, we want you to walk in our Angel Competition Bikini Show. And I'm going, I sent him, are you sure? You know how old I am? Yes, we want you to. Now, you do pay to be in those shows because you end up getting a competition bikini and a bunch of other stuff. And it's like a long weekend. And that was really my next level of awesomeness that happened to me, because I met a ton of like-minded women. There were from 20 to, I was the oldest one, of course, but that I do the same thing. That was the other cool thing. I met women. I've been on bodybuilding retreats with women who put them on, that I met at my very first Angel show. And she's still my friend. And see, you meet people from all over the place. And social media does that too, right? It's like Instagram. You meet people on Instagram. I've had Instagram friends that are my good friends that I've never seen before. And then we meet at some point, and it's like, you knew them all your life. So there's just an incredible, incredible community out there, and you just have to be open to it and not isolate yourself. I mean, I did it scared. That's the saying. I got on stage and I did it scared. I was scared. My legs were shaking, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And things can be scary, but you can still do them. And that's what I did.
So you basically took what was going to be kind of just a workout routine. You got motivated because you saw the way you looked after a trip. You turned it into a lifestyle. And from that lifestyle, you grew an entire occupation, because now you're a social media influencer. Now you are sponsored by a bikini company. And it looks like you have other sponsors as well that are sponsoring you for different sales on your website as well, or at least you're integrated with them in certain ways. So you're turning this into a business that you started at 69 years old. And it's become so fun and passionate, and it's a lifestyle for you now, that you've created a brand new life, like a whole new chapter of your book.
It is. It has happened, and it has just happened. I mean, this was not my plan. I mean, my plan was just to represent who I was at my age and put a little bit about it on Instagram. And that's how it all started. After that first competition, I said, okay, well, I don't want to put it on Facebook where all my friends are going to be looking at me in a bikini. I'm not going to post it there because I don't want to be judged. Nobody knew, like I said, that I was competing until after the show. I just didn't want to be judged. I didn't want people to say, "Are you crazy, Renee? Look at you. You're too old to do that." I didn't want any of that judgment, so I didn't tell people. And I'm glad I didn't, because people they think they know what's best for you, and only you know what's best for you. And so I'm glad I didn't tell. But once I put it on Instagram, and I remember thinking, okay, I'm posting my first competition pictures on Instagram. How do you do this? Oh, this is hard. It's still hard to post stuff on Instagram. And I thought, if I could just get 100 followers, I would be so excited. Just 100 people who thought what I did was okay. And I remember thinking, how do you get 100 followers? Well, I just posted. One thing they say is post a lot, do it a lot. And I did it, and I got 100 followers. So I go, oh my God, I have 100 followers like crazy. Anyway, so time went on, and I'm not, I don't really sell anything. Like I don't have a product. I don't so far anyway, but I've just been, I feel like if I'm going to be this fortunate to feel this good at 73, I need to share it with other people. And that's really what I've been doing here on Instagram and on my YouTube channel. It's like, I think it's my obligation. If I'm going to be feeling this good, other people should know what's going on so they could do it too. So
I
that's really what's happened.
think that a lot of times we get so set in our ways as we get older that we forget that it's okay to fail and it's okay to be
Hmm.
vulnerable and put yourself out there, because you should just go for things in life, because if it's what you want to do, there shouldn't be anything holding you back. You only have one life to live. And I think a
That's
lot of
right.
people hold themselves back and they don't take the step, and you just kept going 1 pound at a time.
Hmm.
1 pound at
Hmm.
a time. Every
Yep.
time you lost a pound, you just set a new goal. One step at a time, getting closer to the goal. And you didn't have a time frame. You just wanted to make
Mm-mm.
it happen 1 pound at a time. And I think that's how
Hmm.
it is in life. You just got to take that first step and you
Hmm.
can achieve anything you want and
That is,
at
you're so
any age.
right. It's so true. It is so true. We're only limited by what we think, how we think. It's really about being limited. And my mother used to say that. My mother lived till almost 100. She was my amazing mother and mentor. And I remember her saying, about somebody, maybe somebody who was mean or just seemed to be small minded. And she said, well, they're just limited. They can't help it. That's just the way they think. And so I never thought, I didn't limit myself, and she didn't either. And I think that's it. We worry too much about that number. I don't let my birth year define me, and I don't. And one of my sayings is no old speak. And I say that that's kind of my motto because whenever I know I'm going to die. Okay. I know it. I'm going to get older and, I'm going to get more wrinkled. As long as I can get this Botox going on, I'm going to have as few as possible. But I know I'm going to decline. It's going to happen. As much as I am battling, as much as I'm lifting weights and doing all the right things, I'm still declining. But I'm fighting that decline, and I'm going to do that till the day I die. And I just feel like I'm not going to express it. I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm not going to be engaging about that with other people all the time, whining about my aches. And like, I've got this really bad arthritis in my baby fingers, whatever. I'm not going to be doing that. And when people start talking about their aches and pains, I will change the subject. Of course, I'll acknowledge it for a moment, but then I'm going to get out of there because you don't want to hang around with that negative energy.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe in so much. It's really your brain's like, okay, your mind thinks things and your body is listening. And they call it neuroplasticity. It's like whatever is going on up here, it's telling the rest of your body about it. So you think the good things, you think the positive things, you think the strong, healthy things, and that's what your body's going to be doing. So
Yeah.
that's really my belief. And I hang out with people much younger. It just, I'm kind of gravitating to them and them to me.
Yeah.
And because they got good energy, and I learn a lot from young people. I mean, I learn a lot from them. They learn from me too, but I learn a lot from them too. So it's being open. It's being open. I like to say there's the power of yes, about saying yes to things. I mean, we all know about no and having boundaries, which are super important. But when you say yes to more things, your world just opens up. It just gets bigger and bigger. So I believe in the power of yes.
Yes. I think that mindset is the number one thing. And I
Hmm.
know that, there's a lot of different debates that, just attract it, but I think you've got to be focused and positive with your mindset. I hear after I turn 50, one of the sayings I keep hearing over and over again, I honestly almost roll my eyes when I hear it now, is at our age, you can't do that. Or at our age, this is how. If I hear at our age one more time, I'm not, you know what I mean? Feel in my 50s. I don't have at our age, as some people say. And it kind of starting to drive me nuts. So whenever I hear somebody do that, I look at their limiting beliefs and I'm like, ooh, do I even want to be friends with this person? Because it's like at our age. No. What is at our age? We could live to 150. In fact, I'm planning on it. So, I'm like, for people to say at our age, it really creeps me out. But you have had such a positive, your mother lived to almost 100.
Hmm.
And did she give you said she was an inspiration. Do you have any quotes from her or from someone else that kind of keeps you going on a daily basis or something you think about? Because times get hard for everybody, right? So is there
Yes, they
anything that
do.
inspires you when maybe it's a rough day?
Well, my mother was super positive. I mean, my dad was an alcoholic. We had some tumultuous times, and no matter what was going on, she always kept her head up. And I saw her doing that. She was always thinking positive, and she encouraged me with a lot of that stuff. Really, I saw her. I just saw how she did things. She was way ahead of her time. I mean, whenever women had this was, in the 50s, they had early American furniture, and doilies and stuff like that. Well, she had the contemporary furniture. She made zebra striped curtains for our living room. I'll never forget. She didn't have a normal Christmas tree. She took a fig tree and she put white plastic on it and made that our Christmas tree one year. So this woman was ahead of her time. One thing she would say is flush it down the toilet. If it's something negative, just flush that down the toilet. And with men, she would say, it's how you start them out. It's how you start them out. And she's right. So she had a lot of cute things, but mostly she was just very positive. And I learned so much from her about the attitude. It's about keeping your chin up and just always thinking that you deserve to have the best. Now, that's hard. Okay. We all struggle with that still, but definitely she did that. Now, okay, one of the old sayings that I think Robert Schuller said, tough times never last. Tough people do. Now, I believe that too. And I think it's important to keep that in mind whenever things get rough. You're going to make it through today. It's just one day at a time. And you're going to feel better tomorrow. That's the other thing. However bad today is, tomorrow's going to be better. Just, you have to tell yourself that. You cannot dwell in that negative energy, in that it's okay. We're all going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're going to lose because, like you said, that's what living and learning are all about. Not always winning, and being able to pull yourself up and go on the next day and just don't ever quit. I think that's a lot of it too. But yeah, so tough times never last. Tough people do. No old speak. That's one of my big ones too. And in general, just keeping it positive. I mean, do not let yourself wallow in self-pity. You can do it for a little bit because everybody deserves a pity party, but you don't let that continue. You just give yourself a little time and then you just get up and go and don't stop.
Yeah, so everybody gets knocked down. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
It's how
Mm-hmm.
quick you can get back up and how resilient you are. I think that makes the difference between the winners and the losers. I really do. And
Absolutely.
because
I agree.
some people get knocked down and they just don't get back up. And it's sad to see so much potential wasted. But I'm hoping that podcasts like this and listening to your story gives encouragement to people. And I know you're doing a lot of documentation on Instagram and YouTube. And are there any other platforms that you're on?
I'm on Facebook, but I don't do much there. And I am on TikTok, although I don't post there that much, but mostly Instagram. And I'm really trying to build my YouTube channel because, you can do more than 1 minute on YouTube. And I have my story there. And actually, if anybody Googles me, Renee Landers, bodybuilder, a ton of articles will come up. I've actually, had articles from Vanity Fair in Italy. I mean, a lot of people have written articles about me. I didn't think that much of all this until time went on. I realized, well, maybe I can make a difference. Yeah, so and on my YouTube channel, I've got several different little stories in there, and I tell my story in more detail, kind of like what we did today. And it's there as a platform, but Instagram is too. And I am just here to keep it positive. And I try to respond when people reach out to me, unless they're perverts. Okay. But other than that,
No
they get
perverts for
blocked.
Renee. No perverts.
No pervs here. You'll be blocked. Okay. I don't want to see any nasty anything. So anyway, I keep it classy. I don't have a OnlyFans. No, I'm never going to have OnlyFans. Okay. I'm not doing that. I'm not broke. I don't need OnlyFans, even though this keeps slipping down. So anyway, but yeah, it's mostly on Instagram and YouTube. And I mean, I'm just here to let people know that it's never too late. People give up on themselves way too soon. Stop that. And no matter how bad today is, tomorrow's going to be better.
You competed in the Arnold Classic too, didn't you?
Well, I went to the Arnold. Now, I walked in the Angel Show at the Arnold. Now, I
Okay.
will tell you this, that first show I did here in Houston, the Lila Brada Classic, well, I've done a total of 13 shows since that show. But last year, 1 year ago, I went back to doing the Lila Brada Classic. again, I said this would be kind of cool. My 3-year anniversary of competing, I went back to that show and I was competing again. I signed up for, I think, open 45 plus, 50 plus. Like I got up there and I signed up. Well, I brought home 3 trophies also.
Look at
Now I
that.
got them second place, third, whatever. But you know what? If I hadn't have shown up, I wouldn't have gotten any trophies, but I came home with 3 and I got to see all my old friends and it was so cool. And then actually, well, okay. So I didn't tell you, but during all this, about a year ago, I did compete in another federation, GBO, Global Bodybuilding Organization. And that's a separate federation. NPC is the one like the gold standard that everybody competes. And I've done several of their shows. But basically, I did earn my pro card, my GBO pro card last year. So I am technically a professional bodybuilder. It's not like I'm making a ton of money doing it. Don't give up your day job if you get your pro card. But, and then I went to the UK last September and I competed in a show there and I had a blast. That's the last show I've done. I hope to do a show this year too. But and I hate to go on, but I got a one-way ticket to fly from Houston to London to compete in that show. I knew some other friends who were going to be on that flight because they were going to compete. And I said, if I'm going to go all the way over there, I'm not turning around and getting on a plane and coming back home. And so I stayed for like 2 weeks. I traveled around all around Italy on my own. Okay. And that was amazing. And I met Instagram friends that one of my girlfriends from Italy, she met me and she helped tour me around. She introduced me to a trainer. We worked out at his gym in Catania, Sicily, and I had the time of my life. It's like crazy. So you've got to keep open. I mean, it's just, I'm going on and on here, but I just get more excited when I think about all the possibilities when you say yes sometimes instead of, oh no, I'm afraid to do that. Do it scared. I think that's
Yeah.
another important.
Well, you're fearless, that's for sure. That's one of the qualities that I love about you, is that you're completely fearless. So you've trained for different competitions. It sounds like you did one last year and you're going to do another one this year. And what do you do differently off season versus on season as far as your macros go and your diet? Because I know diet's about 80 to 90% of how you look. The weightlifting's
It
important
is.
too. But
Yeah.
like, tell me about like kind of the macros you do and then how many times a week you're lifting weights off season
Okay.
and on season.
Okay. Well, and really right now I haven't been as self-disciplined. I'm heavier now than I have been in a while. If I am and how many macros? I don't even know really, honestly, Mia. I've been doing it so long. I just kind of I log my food still. I still do that meal prep. So I've got my little, containers in the fridge and I'm a pescatarian. So I don't eat meat or chicken, none of that stuff. I do eat fish and I eat eggs and egg whites. So my protein is, consisting of those things. But yeah, I don't really have macros. I would just say I'm always kind of watching it. I've never been more than 10 pounds from my stage weight. Right now, I'm probably, 8 pounds from stage weight. Stage weight will change once your body changes because the more muscle you have, you're going to look different and you might be heavier. So that's another thing. The first time I competed 4 years ago, I weighed about 109. And that was in the beginning of my building. I didn't know what I was doing. They didn't know what I was doing. But now my stage weight is 112 to 114. So I'm heavier and I look more muscular. It's because I've had time to build that muscle over time. I used to lift about 3 to 4 times a week. I lift now about 5 to 6 times a week for several months now. I didn't do that 2 years ago, but I do it now. Now, I don't go crazy. I mean, also, okay, I've got a fusion. You won't see me doing any heavy squats, no heavy deadlifts. I mean, I'm doing some machines and on my Instagram, you'll see in my highlights, it shows my workouts. I try to post as much about that as I can, but I don't want people to fixate on what Renee does. Same
Yeah.
with eating. What Renee does is different than what you might need to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for people to understand because everybody's going to have different needs. But yeah, so I lift and I usually it's about 45 minutes of lifting. That's because you have to rest and got to breathe in between those sets, right? And cardio, it's 30 minutes of cardio. I usually do the elliptical. That's kind of my favorite cardio. But I'm consistent. And I think that's the main thing people need to understand. Whatever I am, this is 13 years of it. Okay. And the more you do it, just like you said, Mia, it becomes like a lifestyle. It's not, I don't have to think, I don't know if I can make it to the gym today. I'm going to the gym today. Okay,
Yep.
that's the thing. I'm working my life around. And even whenever when I was working and I wasn't retired, I have a small business. My son helps me. I was still making appointments with myself to do my workouts. And that's what people need to do. Your health is just as important as anything else in your day. So make appointments with yourself for your health.
I think it's the consistency has been kind of an ongoing theme we've been having on most of our podcasts lately. A lot of people, they think they have to have all this motivation, but you just have to be consistent and make it a habit. Over time, you'll succeed. Your health is so important. One of the things I did when I started training again is kind of like you, I hired a trainer. I know how to lift weights, and I'm sure you do too, but you probably still have a trainer. And I do a trainer 3 days a week, and then I lift 3 other days a week. And the reason I have a trainer is to make sure I show up on the days I don't want to, because you're going to have those days where you didn't sleep well. Like today, I didn't sleep very well last night. And I got to the gym and I was struggling, and I showed up because I had to meet my trainer. And I was like, he's like, it's funny because he tried to show me this bicep curl. I go, I know how to do bicep curls. And I was like, I don't need you to show me. I just need you to be here. So I show up.
You're so right. It's about accountability.
Yep.
It really is.
It's a paid accountability partner.
That's right. And you know what? To me, it's the best investment we can make if we need to have a person there. And a trainer is always going to have their eyes open for you. And you've got an in-person trainer. It's great. And Dustin was training me several days a week. Now we're just meeting 2 days a week, and I'm doing the rest on my own. And that's what happens. It becomes discipline kicks in. Okay. People are like, how do you stay motivated? Well, I'm not motivated. I mean, I'm going no matter what. It's like you get to a point where it's part of your DNA. It's like, it's happening. I'm going to, even if I'm tired, like I only got a few hours sleep last night. I still went to the gym. I've got these contractors here. I'm still, and I got it. I want to talk to you too. It's like, you just make it happen, and it just becomes your life. And if you're going to miss out on anything, it's not going to be your workout. You might miss out on, your girlfriend's happy hour or something like that. That's just the way it is. So that's what, it's really not about motivation. It's about being consistent and having the discipline. It just becomes part of what you do. It's like the 21-day habit. It becomes a habit, and you just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle, and they truly say it's a lifestyle, and it's a healthy lifestyle, and it becomes addicting. And I think once you get into it, you can't even go a few days without working out. I mean, when I go on vacations, the first thing I do is figure out the gym. So like even when I was on the cruise with you, I was working out in the gym every day. It's like I went on vacation. I was like, okay, does this hotel have a nice gym? If not, where can I join a gym that's nearby? And it doesn't have to be a great gym. As long as there's weights, I can figure out all different kinds of moves. And as long as there's a treadmill and stuff like that, if you make excuses, you're going to have your excuses. If it's like in life, you can either have excuses or success, but you can't have both. And most
You're
people
so
have
right.
a lot of excuses.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just what you really want to gain.
Yeah.
I think as we get older, you have less time. That's the thing. My mortality is here. It's not down the road there 30 more years or what. Maybe, I hope it is. They say we are going to be able to, our lives can extend till maybe 140 or 150 years. It's happening. It's going to happen. So we need to keep taking care of ourselves if we're going to live that long.
Do you find yourself like eliminating people that are not positive mindset or that are constantly complaining about how old they are, all their aches and pains? Do you find yourself eliminating those people, or do they just kind of self-eliminate?
Well, definitely I'm very aware of who they are and whatever the situation is. And I don't think I'm intentionally saying I'm cutting them out. I just kind of back away, and that's kind of my personality anyway. I'm not going to get in their face and say, I'm never going to see you again. You're just so damn negative. But I just kind of ease out of it. And if they're whining, I can think of recent situations like that. I'm just not going to engage in that. And it's true that you can't just cut everybody out. Maybe they live with you or whatever, or they're a relative. So you just have to kind of tune them out and keep thinking about about what you need to think about to take care of you. But definitely my whole group of friends, I'm mostly in with my bodybuilding friends. I still do tons of other stuff with my non-bodybuilding friends, but if they're negative, they're not going to get much of my time. And there are a few that are just not in my life at all, and I've intentionally done that. But in general, I'm just easing out and just staying away from that because you only have so much day in the hours in the day, and you've got to make the most of them and not let that negative energy, become a part of you because it's just a waste.
Okay, I gotcha. I think that it's so important to like give your energy to the people that kind of match your energy too.
Hmm.
So, are you dating anyone, Diva Renee?
I'm not dating anyone in particular.
So she's available, everyone out there.
Have you seen what most 73-year-old men look like?
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
that's not doable. You're gonna have to go younger.
Well, it's that. Yes, that's I date younger men, so it's got to happen. I can't help it. I can't. I want someone who is just. They need to be as strong as me, mentally, physically, financially. I do. I want my rock. I mean, everybody. I'm everybody's rock. So for serious, whatever. I'm not so worried about finding the man of my dreams or my white knight. I'm having a great life, and if I can have fun in the process with nice people, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So the whole angel bikini thing, I think I might want to walk on stage with
Oh
you.
my God, I hope you will. Definitely. Oh my God. The Arnold is the next big show. I just got back from Nashville this past Sunday and walked in that show. That was a blast. And there's just, I mean, I got goosebumps. You'll see on my page. It's just so cool, really, Mia. It would be just so much fun. So I will definitely keep you posted about the shows because I think you would just have so much fun. It's a
Yeah.
great way for women who don't compete to sort of have the next level. Like, I want to get on stage. I want to get all glammed up. Have these women, you don't have to have a bikini, although you need to. They have one pieces that they make, kind of blinged up one pieces and gowns. So we have options for ladies who might not want to be in a bikini. But yeah, I hope you'll do it. We will talk more about that. We have shows throughout the year all over the US, and they are so much fun. That
And
would
the
be so
angel
cool.
bikini. So if somebody goes to your Instagram page, they can actually click on it and order from your Instagram page. Is that right?
Yeah, it's angelcompetitionbikinis.com. And you'll see it on my page. And yeah, if they order, you can get a discount code. And I forget about that sometimes, but they need to know that I am preaching about them. Now, here's the cool thing about Angel. Two girls in their early 20s, they competed and they're twins. Okay. She and her sister, they are co-owners of Angel Competition Bikinis, and their mother taught them how to sew. One of them competed in a show, and she said they didn't have any good bikinis, so they made their own bikinis for the next show. Ultimately, their mother taught them, and they ended up starting this bikini company, just making sparkly bikinis for themselves, and it became this awesome company, and it's this incredible community, and that's what's so cool about Angel Competition Bikinis. It's a sisterhood. I mean, we're going on a bikini cruise. You need to come with us in Galveston in January. It's so going to be so much fun.
That sounds fun. I might join you.
And guess what? We're going to do an angel show, a fashion show in the theater. So that's another. They've never done a fashion show on the cruise. So yeah, I will talk more about that. That's in
Okay.
January,
Maybe I'll
definitely.
do a fashion show with you in January.
Yeah, you could do it. Well, we'll talk about it. 'Cause, oh my
Okay.
God. So yeah, so I'm having the time of my life. Those girls are just amazing.
So if you could reflect back, and I know there's a lot of people that are older, and maybe give them a little bit of advice. Anybody over 40 or 50 or even older that's wanting to go into professional bodybuilding or even just do an angel bikini show,
Hmm.
what advice would you give them as far as getting started? I know 1 pound at a time,
Yeah.
but any other advice?
Well, I would say even not even thinking about either walking in an angel show or competing, just how you want to have a better quality of life. And and I tell people, You got to dig deep. Everybody has this inside of them. Whatever I've got, you've got it too. Everybody has it. You just have to dig deep. You're worth it. It's like knowing your worth. And I deserve it. We always are givers. Most women, we give a whole lot more than we receive. You deserve to receive, and you deserve to feel good. And it doesn't mean you have to bite off a big chunk, just a little bite. Start slow, easy. Lift some weights at home. Lifting weights is like the fountain of youth. I'm going to keep saying that. So don't worry about, I don't know if I can ever get on stage. I mean, these are great goals to have. Okay. And definitely I want everybody listening to walk in an angel show with me. It's so much fun. It's not a competition. That's the cool thing about it, but it's an opportunity to kind of maybe you've got some goals that you've been setting for your physical fitness. This is a great way to showcase where you are. And we have transformation people of all ages, shapes, and sizes from all over the world. So, yeah, I would just say, though, getting back, dig deep. You have that power within you to be whatever awesome person you see or you want to be. You can do it, and you will do it. You just have to dig deep and find that inside of yourself. And it's so worth it. And I'm here if y'all ever need any encouragement. You just message me.
And I know that a lot of people have maybe down on themselves because of their appearance, or maybe they lost a lot of weight. But in professional bodybuilding, there are people that do plastic surgery. And I know I've lost a ton of weight. So for my journey, I'll probably do a few nips and tucks here and there as well. But plastic surgery can be done. So don't let something like a little bit of loose skin here and there hold you back. Is there anything you could recommend to people as far as they're wanting to do it, but something's holding them back?
Okay. Now, and I will tell you too, ladies, loose skin does not disqualify you from competing. And they are looking at your overall muscle and development, all that. But I would say too, if the main thing is that you're always improving, don't be afraid of plastic surgery. I would just say, you're about to do a major thing here, Mia, and that's awesome. I don't think plastic surgery is the answer if you're trying to look your best. I think lifting weights, having a healthy lifestyle, you've got to start that way because you got to feel good. You can't even survive surgery if you're not healthy. So I would say that's something to think about. I get Botox. You can see I get fillers and Botox. I don't mind. I'm transparent about that. There's so many great treatments, and there are great treatments for loose skin. You got to get rid of loose skin if you've lost a ton of weight like you, but there's a ton of treatments out there. Estheticians do. There's cool sculpting. There's a ton of stuff. I'm not a big lotion and cream kind of. I think a lot of that is just hype. I mean, I use oil of Olay, but I do think don't worry too much about it. Hydration is everything. Whatever loose skin you have, if you're hydrating, it's not going to look as bad. Your face, everything's going to look better. I mean, I drink a gallon of water a day. And I have on my YouTube, my highlights in my Instagram about how I put my little concoction together. But I would say drink a ton of water, start moving more. And I think if you decide plastic surgery is something you want to do your research. You want to go to qualified people. You don't want to save money on something like that. But that doesn't mean you have to go to the most expensive people. Just do your research, do your homework. There's lots of good people out there who are qualified and who will work with you and find the right person or the right doctor, group of doctors or whatever, if you decide to do that.
Are there any supplements you would recommend for people that are in their 30s and up that people in their 20s and 30s don't take? I know I take a lot of collagen protein when I do my protein smoothies, and I do, different types of vitamin D and things that maybe younger people don't. Are there any supplements you would recommend and creatine, of course, but are there any things that you recommend? Creatine?
Here's an article. I haven't even put this on my Instagram yet. It's from the Houston Chronicle a month or so ago about the benefits of creatine. Older adults may benefit from creatine use. This is not just for bodybuilders. So I would say that one thing, Mia, and they've learned also that 5 grams a day is kind of your standard amount to take. But upping it, they're showing that it's not only good for your muscles, but for your brain health over time. The creatine was developed 40 years ago for muscle wasting in elderly people. That's what it first was developed at. And you don't need any fancy. I use the naked creatine on Amazon. It's the cheapest stuff. And I just looked underneath it, and it's been over a year that I've had the same container of creatine because it's inexpensive. So don't buy the fancy stuff. But yeah, creatine is everything. I do the vital proteins, collagen peptides. I think those are good. You can see a difference in your nails and skin with that. And other than that, I don't take tons of supplements. I think, you need some vitamin D, calcium. There's some things like that. Now, also something I do is I have had an infusion of Reclast. Now, this is something that helps fight osteoporosis. It can not just to build it, but it can fight it off. So that's another thing. That's another little element that women should look into as you're approaching menopause, and because your bones are going to break down. And if you have osteopenia, that's the beginning of osteoporosis. And as much as I lift weights and I eat everything and I do everything right, and I have been for years, I still had a teensy bit of osteoporosis. So even people who do all that stuff, that may not be enough. So there are some things, and you can talk to your bone health doctor about that. But Reclast is one I did. It's about once a year infusion. It's a teensy little thing. That would be another thing that I would suggest women look at. It's like you got to look at everything. You got to cover all your bases, because one thing, small thing like the creatine, could make a huge difference in your health. It doesn't take much, but I think that's important. And then looking into there's several different ones. Are you on anything like that, like the Reclast?
That's the first time I've ever heard of that. I do
Okay.
different things like HMB. I do different amino acids, urolithin
Uh,
A. I also
yeah,
make my own yogurt for gut health.
that is very cool. Good
I'm
for
on a lot
you.
of different supplements because I can't do any I'm not on any pharmaceuticals at all,
Uh-huh.
except for I guess the hormone therapy. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't do supplement, or I don't do pharmaceutical drugs and of any
Mm-hmm.
kind. So yeah, I do a lot. I do multivitamins, I do, methylene blue, I also do IV therapy at least a couple times a month. I do different like
Cool.
glutathione and glutamine and things like
Huh?
that. So
That's
anything that can
awesome.
help me get a little bit. I even did NAD for a while, but I kind of like I now do the pills versus the IV because it was a lot. Yeah, so I do a lot to try to keep the inner workings going as strong as possible too. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. That's
yeah.
so important, and I'm glad you brought it up, because that's another layer of how you're going to take care of your quality of life. And just to the 40 and 50-year-olds, this is me at 73, because I've been doing things for a while. And that's the thing. Don't give up on yourself because you think you're over the hill at 45. Golly, y'all are just babies in my
Mm-hmm.
book. So you have lots more time left to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're just getting started. If I'm going to live another 100 years, I'm only a third of the way done. So
That's
if you think about it that way, I don't know what at our age means, but at my
I
age,
love
I'm
that.
still young.
Me too. We're going to be young for forever.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could send a message now, this is kind of a tricky one, to yourself from when you were 64 years old, so before you started building, and
Mhm.
say, and tell yourself it's going to be okay, what would you say in a way that way it kind of encourages those people that are still having a little bit of doubt?
Mhm.
So if you could say to yourself, you know what, it's going to be okay. How do you feel now that's different than you did when you were
Mhm.
62 or 63 and taking those pictures and looking like the average middle-aged person?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I guess I would say it's going to be okay, because you really have that strength inside of you that I talked about earlier. It's like as bad as you might feel, as much as you might think you're getting old, you're really you have plenty of life left. And dig deep. Just keep loving yourself and reminding yourself. Treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. Love yourself like you love your best friend. And remember that every day you have to do this every day. It's kind of like your mantra, but it is going to be okay. I guess that's just it. You're going to be okay. Whatever struggle you're having, feeling old, or feeling like, you're getting old, or, nobody's going to love you. You can love yourself. You need to love yourself first anyway, before anybody's going to want to love you. You got to love yourself, and you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be. I mean, I promise you, everything's going to be okay. You just keep thinking positive, and you keep loving yourself, and you keep reminding yourself that you deserve to feel good, and you deserve the very best life. and start living it today for the rest of your life.
Looking back, is there anything different that you would do that looking back now, maybe I should have competed earlier? Should I have changed my
Yeah.
food? Should I have changed the way I dressed?
Hmm.
Anything that you can give like little nuggets that you wish you would have done something a little differently?
Yeah, I wish I'd have competed sooner for sure. I wish I'd have been open. I wish I'd have been open and listened to my trainer about that. And I was too afraid. I was just plain. So it's part about fear. You got to do stuff scared. Do it scared. Do it anyway. It's the kind of thing that you might be afraid to do. Will do. Now, I'm never going to jump out of an airplane. Okay, that I don't need to do that. But if it's something that you think would be so cool to do, but you're so scared to do it, you probably need to do it. And you're going to feel so good. I mean, I got goosebumps. You're going to feel so good after you do it. Whatever it is, if it's just going to the gym and like, I want to try to lift a 20-pound dumbbell, you're going to feel so good when you get to the point where you do it. You accomplish, take the little steps first. And I think that's the most important. Now, another thing with regards to marriage, I would say don't waste too much time on the wrong person.
Yep, well, I
That's a
agree with
different.
that one.
Don't wait. I mean, I've been married 3 times. Okay. I'm not going to lie. And I mean, like the first 2 years of those 10 were great, but I should have gotten out sooner, you know? So it's like, so I would just say your
I
time
love
is all
that.
you have. Do not waste it. Don't, you do your best and then you make your decision to move on if you need to. If it's about marriage or about a job or whatever, you got to, don't waste as much time. It's because the older you get, the less time you have to waste. So I would just say that you don't have to have a person in your life to make you complete. You will make yourself complete. And then you'll draw in people that are the right people for you. So I would just say that's the other thing that comes to mind because we all waste our time unnecessarily, whether it's people or jobs or things. So I would just say that. And things are not important. That's the other thing. This came from Target, okay? These earrings are from Amazon. Okay, this ring came from a hop shop. You know what that is? That's like a what do you call them whenever you go and people bring their rings and
Like
their
a pawn
jewelry
shop?
in?
Like a pawn
Yeah,
shop?
pawn shop. So
Hmm.
all this stuff came from a pawn shop. Don't be afraid to save money. Don't be afraid to shop in discount places too. Just being smart with your money. Okay, here's another thing. Get a financial advisor. Don't think you know how to do that stuff yourself. I don't care if you only have $20 a month that you can put aside. Find somebody who's an expert in that and go get that because that made a big difference to me. And I'm just talking in general, but once one of my bosses died young, my son was only like 6 years old. I was a single mom, and I immediately went to a financial advisor and said, "Okay, I need to make sure that my kid's future is right." And that's another thing. I mean, I'm talking about another subject, but still, it's about getting your life together. And I believe in writing down goals. I still write them down physically. I have my goals from 20 years ago that I wrote down. And I think written goals are kind of magical, is kind of what I think too.
So, what goals do you have for the future that you're going to hit in the next, say, 1 to 5 years?
Wow. Well, I want to travel to a lot more countries. So that's going to be one thing. More solo travel. I did a 27-day trip by myself this year, and I'll do some more. And really, I should have more. You're catching me off guard, but mostly it's about doing things that make me happy and genuine happiness, not because other people are doing them, but just things that are going to make me feel good. And it's not about the stuff, it's about the experiences. So I want to go on a safari. That's a big thing. I want to go to the Galapagos Islands. I'm actually it's just about making my life, more complete and joyful by doing things that are going to enhance my life. So that's really mostly what it is.
So, Diva Renee, I think we've covered a lot, but is there anything that you want to leave as parting words to people to let them know that they can do it just like you and they're not too old? Is there anything you want to say to those people that are still on the fence?
I'm doing where I am today. It's not rocket science, okay? And I like to say this is not amazing. This is just doing the same thing over and over again. It's not rocket science. I am just a person. I'm a person just like you. I am nobody special, but I had some determination. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to make the most of every day. And that's really what it is. It's just about being determined, and anyone can do it, really. I mean, whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. I mean, it's kind of old school, but it's not rocket science. You can do it too. And I'm here if you want to ask any questions about doing it.
Well, Diva Renee, I love your consistency. I love your spirit. I think you're one of the most inspirational people I've ever run into in my life personally. And I hope that you have a very successful career for the next 100 years. And I think that we've had probably the best motivational podcast we've had in a long time. So if anybody wants to reach out to Renee, I will have her Instagram page posted. And I just encourage everybody to be consistent and take what she's done and internalize it, because you can do anything you want in this world as long as you have a right mindset. So this is Diva Mia signing off. Diva Renee, you want to sign off?
This is Diva Renee signing off. Diva Mia, you're adorable. Thank you so much for wanting me to come here. I am thrilled that I got to do it, and I'm thrilled to share whatever's happening in my life that could make your life better. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. All right, everybody, have a great week. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. We love hearing from you. Visit thedivadetails.com to connect. See you next week for more.
Diva Details podcast and website are intended solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The content provided does not constitute professional, medical, financial, or legal advice. We are not licensed medical practitioners, financial advisors, or legal professionals. Always consult with a qualified healthcare provider for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Any financial topics discussed are based on personal opinions and experience and should not be considered professional advice. The content provided does not constitute legal advice. The Diva Details and its affiliate contributors and guests are not liable for any losses or damages arising from the use of our content. The opinions expressed in the podcast are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organization, sponsors, or partners. All facts discussed in the podcast are researched and accurate to the best of our knowledge at the time of recording. Information may change over time. No guarantees are made regarding the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements or opinions presented. It is the responsibility of the listener to verify any and all facts that may influence their decision. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice.